Hello my fellow pod pilots of New Eden, EddieRio here. Now, before I get into the fittings and the fights of the Scythe that I've been flying recently, the Scythe Fleet Issue to be more precise, and this ship has some potential to get awesome fights, as you'll see as the video goes on. But first I want to talk about this little problem that I have that you can see on the screen now, which is I keep overheating my guns. I seem to do it loads. I think I use it wrong. I think overheating should be used to just push through that part of the tank that you're struggling to get through, not just leaving it on for long periods of time and forgetting about it as I seem to do. I do only have thermodynamics trained to 4. I don't know whether I should train this to 5, whether that would make a difference or not as well. I don't know, what do you reckon? But as you can see here, I'm too busy trying to find out how to turn my auto reload off on my ancillary shield booster and didn't notice that I was still overheating my guns, and there they go again. It's such a horrible mistake to make. It's probably the worst one that you can make, because you're just a sitting duck now at the end of the day. I make a lot of little mistakes as you're PvPing and flying around, but none are worse than burning your guns, and especially watching the video back and just thinking, oh, could I have had that kill if it wasn't for that? I certainly don't mind losing fights, but when it's to your own incompetence like that, it always hurts a little bit more. But I did win some fights, and I've got some good ones to show you, so let's have a little look at the fitting. I think the slot layout is really versatile. You can fit buffer, armor or shield tank, you can active tank shield or armor, and there's lots of possibilities for this ship, which is cool. At the end of this video I've got a really good fight that I had in an active armor tank instead of this one, which is active shield tank. Here I've got dual 180s to make it fit, and which also increases the tracking, a small NOS, extra large ancillary shield booster, shield hardener, web and scram, 4 gyro stabilizers to increase that DPS, damage control, EM and thermal shield reinforcers in the rigs, with a processor overclocking unit to make it all fit. Of course I will be taking a blue pill with me, which adds 20-25% bonus to the shield recharge amount. Yes, it can fire some negative effects, but I always think it's worth using. These ships are really cheap for me as well, because I can buy them with my loyalty points that I earn while I'm in faction warfare, so they cost a little bit more than a T1 cruiser to make, so I certainly don't mind losing them. And when you've got that attitude, you sort of throw it at more fights to see whether you're going to come out on top or not. And we're going to start off with a few frigs that decided to attack me. Always quite surprising that frigs are going to attack a ship like this, and as you saw that hook bill, it absolutely melted, and so is this slicer, going to go down pretty quick as well. But I guess they've decided to give it a go and try and punch up and see if they can take out a faction cruiser. I must have noob or crap fit tattooed on my head or something. But because I've got the dual 180s fit, which is the smallest of the medium guns for Minmatar projectile turrets, it does mean that increases my tracking, which helps to shoot the smaller stuff. Here we are up against the Vengeance. Vengeance is a really good ship and can be really tanky as well, with a sort of a dual rep fit, and this is a good pilot as well. And although he hasn't got much DPS and he starts to focus more on taking out my drones, this just shows how keeping a really tight orbit on me and keeping that transversal down is going to make me really struggle to hit him. Me just trying to orbit him isn't working, because I'm not making that distance that I need to then start dropping that transversal. So I've got to do a little bit of manual piloting and just start going off in one direction, and hoping that that's going to help pull that distance up a little bit so that transversal drops, so I start getting a few hits on him. As you can see, I've made a couple of kilometers on him, and he's now approaching me in a kind of straight line, so I'm starting to get a few hits on him rather than him orbiting me and me missing completely. This really shows how just making one small change can have such an adverse effect on the fight, and although I wasn't worried about tanking this has meant that I've managed to get the kill. But look at him here, repping through my DPS as he's in half hull. That's pretty impressive for a small frig like that. I'm certainly managing my overheat on my guns a little better this time, and didn't burn them out. That would have been ridiculous if I did it in this fight. But good fight that was the little frig that could. Next up we've just got a standard omen, and there was 2 Tristans that was with him on the warping gate, but they never actually warped in. I think that would have made the fight a little bit more exciting. It looked like they were going to come in the way they sort of arrived together, but they just let the omen go in. Maybe the omen pilot said, "Don't worry boys, I'll jump in and clear the site and you can come in afterwards." Either way, as you can see, I'm not struggling with this at all. I haven't even activated my shield booster yet. And down he goes. Next up, I've got a little story to tell about this one. So here we are up against an Eagle. That's right, an Eagle, a heavy assault cruiser. Now, I jumped into this system, seen a couple of ships on scan at this complex, walked to the complex, but by the time I walked into it, the ships had left. I didn't think much about it, but thought it would be a good idea just to hang around and see if they come back. And that is when the Eagle showed up on D-scan and warped into the complex. I wasn't too sure whether I should take the fight, but at the time I'd been up all night, not much action had happened, so I thought, well, let's just give it a go, see what happens. Speeding this fight up a little bit because it took a hell of a long time. I'm also constantly on edge during this whole fight, waiting for the fleet to warp in and just instantly gank me. I'm also quite surprised how well this is going and how I'm slowly working my way through his tank, and I seem to be doing okay. I've got 2 things going for me here. He hasn't popped his drones out, I don't know whether he's realised or not, and also he's sort of railgun fit, so as long as I keep close I'm going to be okay. And once I manage to get through his excessive shield tank, he starts to drop really quickly and I managed to get the kill. How cool is that? I also got 45,000 loyalty points for that kill as well, which is cool, so that's another couple of scythes that I can make with that. And I decided to try and get his pod as well, which I do, but there was nothing fitted to that. I then decide to hang around. This is my complex now, I've decided, and I'm going to see it through to the end. He then decides to come back in a Vedmak. Look, I'm all in by this point. In for a penny, in for a pound. Let's see what happens. He's remembered his drones this time, so I send my drones to defang his. Now, I don't know much about these Triglavian ships. I've got a real knowledge gap here because obviously I haven't been playing properly for like 8 years. And one thing I do know about this ship is that it's got 1 gun on it and that it increases DPS over time, is it? Another thing I do know is they are quite expensive and they are quite powerful, and they just look cool as well. So he's got a neutralizer on me, which has been slowly destroying my capacitor, and on top of that, I don't think I'm making much headway on his armor tank at the moment. I don't reckon there's a chance that I could escape even if I wanted to, so I just think I've got to keep ploughing on and trying to manage my modules as best I can. I've managed to get rid of a few of his drones, however I am out of capacitor. I've only got a handful of capacitor charges in my shield booster and I'm starting to take quite a bit of damage. I'm trying my best to activate my shield hardener with what little cap that I've got. I also don't have scram and web at the moment. I even start aligning to a station in a sort of vague attempt to try and escape and see if I can warp out. But I start to notice that his tank is failing slightly and he's starting to drop. So as my drones kill his 4th drone that I've managed to get, I decide to pop them back onto him and not worry about that last 1 drone, and that added DPS really starts to drop his tank. I forget about my idea of trying to warp off to the station and I start approaching him, trying to spam, and I managed to get my scram back on him so that he can't warp away now. Also decide to give my guns 1 more hit of overheating to try and finish this kill off, and happen to use my last booster for my ancillary shield booster as he goes down. Look at that, I bet you weren't expecting that, I certainly wasn't. Good fight. An Eagle and a Vedmak, not too bad. So I've got 1 more really good fight that I had in the Scythe Fleet Issue. This time though it was an armor tank. So with this fit I've got two 20s for the guns, medium newt, capacitor booster, afterburner, a couple of webs, a warp scrambler, one gyro, one medium armor repairer and one medium ancillary armor repairer, a multi-spec energized membrane, damage control, ancillary current router to make it fit, and then a couple of resists. With this fit I guess you could say it's sort of less ganky, more tanky, and having that capacitor booster really helped in this next fight. So I'm jumping into this low sec system in faction warfare space, but it's under the effects of being like a null system, so obviously there's a bubble over the gate. We've got a Hike, a Sabre and a little cheeky tornado hiding in the corner there. So I've got my cloaked timer of about a minute to decide what I'm going to do. I don't think I could reapproach the gate and jump through because I think that they're going to web me. So my best bet is to try and align out and take them out and try to warp out of here. So my idea here is to see which one is going to approach me harder and faster, and that's the one that I'm going to attack. And the Hike sort of goes right in, so he's the one that I'm going to start to try and take down first. And as I do that, the tornado warps down into what I presume is his ultimate range, because he's obviously got artilleries fitted, and starts taking pot shots at me, and bang, look at that, that is really starting to hurt my tank. But I'm going to keep aligning away and shooting this Hike and see if I can get him down. He's repping really well, but he's in hull, and I'm starting to think about then swapping over to the Sabre. If I can manage to drop this Sabre, I should be able to warp out, as the tornado doesn't have any point. He's sort of arty long range fit. So that's the Hike down. Now time to get on that Sabre. Having a dual web is really helping in this situation to make that range and apply that DPS to him. At this point I see the Sabre turn around to move away from me, so I decide to approach him, but as I do, that drops my transversal right down and that tornado gets one hell of a hit on me, and I'm a sliver of hull now. But as that happens, the Sabre goes down, and now I can try and warp out before he lands another shot. And look at that, I leave my drones behind, but I do not care. That was an awesome little fight there, and I cannot believe I made that through the skin of my teeth. I managed to escape then. So look, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe and share the video, that would be cool. And I'm just gonna leave you with a sort of obligatory gank as I decide to go after a Crow and an Arazu, which obviously is not going to turn out very well. But anyway, till the next time, fly safe.